status update, we're having to worry about what they've changed. And then, as 1.6 showed, if we miss something, it gets through and like you had auto lock on for the M107. So we plan to take all that away and build full configs for every one of the items for DayZ, and then store them in DayZ separately.
So somebody's asking what the carry slot is for?
What green slot?
The carry slot.
Oh, quick switch between melee and normal.
Okay.
Oh my god, so amazing.
Oh my god, John.
So you can have like a hatchet and a machete in there.
Razor, I messaged you
Let's
something
go,
in
let's
Team Super.
If you're watching the stream now, you'll see the Zeds. They're pretty much won't go inside the chopper blades because of the bounding box issues. This is one of the big problems we're having to fight all the time.
Wait, so you can like switch between a gun and like a machete or axe?
No, you will be able to some degree. There'll be some limitations on it, and well, yeah, we'll get to those limitations when it all gets passed up.
Alright, the guy in the chat's also saying, so you're saying that I could have more than one M1911 in a small backpack?
No.
Alright. I guess that's your answer, mate.
You
No,
can
we're
make
not.
it. You can make it all like Tomb Raider like, where you can pull out dual pistols.
Yeah,
He's also
that's
asking why.
That's our fear, having so many weapons accessible in one go.
I guess it
it'll
would be more of a balance
be
issue.
very
maybe.
inaccurate, but it'll be funny.
It would be
Yeah,
actually funny to just run out, guns blazing, 2 pistols.
Max Payne style.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could,
You're not
you could
taking
run
me
out with
alive,
2 pistols
motherfucker.
and run and shoot at zombies. I mean,
Chug down painkillers and then shoot everyone.
Some pain pillars.
Yeah, that's a hard one for balance. We got to try keeping the balance. We can't have you all running around with well.
So it
assault
would be
rifles
funny
galore.
as hell. I would enjoy that.
I'm sure it would be fun, but yeah.
So somebody's
I don't
just saying
think anyone
so.
would take that seriously.
I'm sorry, say again.
I don't think anyone would take that mechanic seriously.
No, it wouldn't. It'd be funny though.
So
So yeah, the plans with the carry slot is going to be melee weapons and then vehicle parts.
okay.
More info will come out once we start getting it down to exact details of code and what we can't do and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
in
So
future updates, are you guys gonna add like bigger jerry cans? Because in like DayZ Origins, there's they have the big jerry can, which is like, I think it's like 4 jerry cans in one. I think is what it is.
it is.
Are you guys ever gonna add something kind of like that to future updates?
Again, how would you carry it?
I mean, it takes up like
It takes up
9
9
slots,
slots.
like almost a
Yeah.
weapon, but
Yeah, well, if you're thinking of how big it is, you wouldn't normally be able to carry it unless you were a freaking muscle monkey.
That's
Yeah,
well,
like,
I
it's full of
mean, would
fuel.
you be able to fit a gun in a backpack?
Well,
I
survival of
mean,
the
No.
fittest.
but this is the argument we've got to get through. We have to put some weapons with bigger slots. Like weapons have 10 slots, but fuel cannons at 20 liters don't have, only 3 slots missing. We start putting 50 liters, 200 liter bloody fuel cans in. We're getting to the point of, well, yeah, this takes it a little too far. They are getting a little far off the beaten track there for immersion and all the rest of it.
Okay. So,
Yes, it'll be nice, but yeah.
Justin
I mean,
R.
you guys.
Justin R. One
No,
two
you
three
can
four
go.
five. That is the inventory system that Standalone has, pretty much. So yeah. He's talking about like having the grid squares, and then whichever item has a certain like size, kind of.
Sort of like Resident Evil.
Yeah. But yeah, like that was basically something I was always wondering, because loot size, being able to carry a freaking helicopter rotor, that doesn't make any logical sense to me. But
Well, yeah, but then for us
but
to
then how are you
change
gonna carry it
that,
in the first place?
yeah, for us to change that now is going to be a drastic step. People are
Yeah.
used to it, and for us to change it, it's going to be a lot of code to change, to put
Yeah.
weights on backpacks, to put weights on all items, and a new code for all the items.
No.
Not to mention the fighting that we'd have to do for the gear menu. The gear menu is actually Arma 2, it's not ours. we still have to abide by Armor 2 system. So we're still limited to some degree.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys could go the Elder Scrolls route and make it where if you fill up your entire inventory, you walk really, really, really slow.
Yeah, see, we have discussed this. This has come to the table a few times. We got to find a good balance between everything's about balance. As you saw, a small change to say the infection, 0.2 of a difference we've noticed between this version we have now and the 0.7 version, and that 0.2 of a difference is enough to cause us no infection after a couple of hits. But you go in 0.7 and you can get hit straight away pretty much instantly and get infection. So there is very fine balancing details we're going to need to go through and fix out for everything we're doing at the moment.
And I just thought about it. I mentioned earlier about the zombies like making you bleed in one hit, and I understand you want to make them a threat, but can you at least not make it one hit, make it like 2 or 3 or something? Because it gets
Well, it's all
really
about how hard they
annoying.
hit you.
Yeah, it's about the hardness that they hit, the amount of force they hit you with, the multiplier. That multiplier is the key system. It's also the one that decides whether you go unconscious, how deep the wound is, how much you bleed. That's the key one.
But when like 5 zombies in a row, completely different zombies hit you one hit and you bleed, that's kind of messed up.
Well, again, it depends on how they hit you. If you take into to account depth of wounds, the stronger they hit you is how deep they're hitting. If they hit you with a good force to make it a good deep wound, which is the case when you bleed, you're gonna bleed no matter how they hit you. It doesn't matter. You can fall down the stairs and bust your leg and bleed out. It's there's a fine balance between realism, immersion, gameplay. We still have to get that balance right, and it is hard. But point 0.7 is actually closer to Dean's original versions than any point 0.6 was. So
Okay.
it's not we're not going off track. We're actually coming back onto track. Point 0.6 changed everything because we made it easy. Point 0.7 we're taking it back to how Dean originally wanted it.
So somebody asks if there can be like a fuel hose or something, so you can link the fuel can to the helicopter or something.
And this has actually been brought up a fuel pump, a little manual fuel pump that you can put a cable into, a pipe into the fuel tank, and then one into the helicopter and pump it, fuel it in. It's
Um, in
possible.
in Lingor there was like a thing where you could fly your helicopter over and it would just refill it right there. Like you wouldn't have to connect anything. I mean, that's kind of not right there, but I mean it's kind of similar idea. Like because in Lingor you could just like fly your heli right over top of a refuel thing and it would just fill it up there and then you could just fly away. I mean if you could do something like off kind of similar to that, I guess.
Yeah, but then we go back to the point of where's the threat? Where does the threat come into it? If you're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse or apocalypse of any sort, fuels are going to be high sought out areas. So if you're giving everyone away to just hover over a fuel tank, not take any real damage or any real threat, then we're taking away the threat and that possibility of causing more problems and all of that. So then where does the threat come from?
Um, you could like siphon fuel out of cars and stuff. Like I know they're like broken down cars on the side of the road and stuff. Would it be possible in a future update to add where you can like get a fuel can and maybe fill it a little bit up from one car and like go to another and just keep filling it up that way?
Yes, that is possible. So that is a good one that has been brought up many times already. We just haven't got around to doing it yet. Same as the blood bagging one. Where blood bags are not actually found in hospitals. You only find an actual bag that symbolises the blood bag, and you have to take blood out of yourself to fill the blood bag to be able to store it as a blood bag. And that's another one that's came into play because there's always a threat there. You're always going to have to go and get bags as a fuel. You always have to get out of the vehicle. You're always going to have to go fill the fuel can and then back. So there is a threat there. It gives us a gameplay element of threat all the time. That's what we want. So yes, they are very much possible.
So somebody right now is asking if you can make it so that you can siphon gasoline from to like a car to a different car.
Well, that's what we were just on about.
Oh,
That's what
okay. Okay.
Cornish was just on about just then.
Okay.
So
Kind
yeah,
of.
it definitely is possible, and it would fit into what we see as a game and how we'd be able to make a threat out of it all the time. So yes, that is possible. Whether
Well,
we can get it done or not fast enough is another question, but yes, it is possible.
kind of going on about that question. Would it also be able to like take parts of another car and move on to the car that you're actually trying to fix, if you have the toolkit?
Yeah, we've looked at this as well again. Technically yes, and it would fit all the requirements that we look for. But then, what do we do with all these broken down cars all over the map? We just leave because they keep being updated every time a player goes near, but they don't actually move, so they're not actually being changed in the database in any way. They're just sitting idle. No new one will ever spawn because, well, the server doesn't know that it needs to be removed or anything else. So how will it help the actual gameplay overall? You'd have to manually go through the database, removing the vehicles with no parts, and it's a lot of work. And then you have to work out which vehicles actually have no parts, which vehicles are still in original locations, or if they've been moved, if have they been moved and have no parts, or are they still being used, are they still being updated? There's no way we can accurately foresee that in a database, not a mass big database. On a small server, we might be able to fiddle around and get what we need out of the database and just move things manually. But on a big automated system, it's not really possible for us to track.
I just saw a cool question in chat. Someone mentioned, like, where if you break your bone, you could do like a makeshift stick or something and, like, get your leg to be straight again, but like run at a reduced speed or something like that.
This has been brought up again, but we come back to the animations. This problem we've got until we can start getting people that can do animations. You get stomped on all of this. It's same as the Zeds have to stop to attack a player. They can't just run and attack a player because animation stops us.
This is kind of weird. Like, I never understood this, but why can't you eat while inside a vehicle?
Unfortunately, there's quite a lot of loopholes and exploits in that factor. So we took them away, and by taking them away, obviously, you can't eat or drink. But if we
Yeah.
add them back, it brings in more exploits again that can be exploited.
I didn't notice any exploits, but I guess some other people did. But that makes sense.
Yeah, unfortunately, we found a lot ourselves. Even when we was testing this officially and before, you get a lot of issues with exploits. Exploits at the moment are the biggest killer of DayZ. Players that don't want to play DayZ how DayZ should be played, they just want to exploit every single factor of the game. Now, in some ways, some of the exploits are part of the gameplay, but when you're putting magazines in your backpack and logging off to log back on to fill them back up, or you're trying to cheat the system for the sake of cheating the system because you can't be bothered to do anything else, it gets to a point where it's tedious.
Okay. Some people in the chat are asking about like drugs and stuff, and I think the main problem with that would be like controversy around that. Yeah. Even if it's realistic or whatever, I think that a lot of people wouldn't like that in the game.
Yeah, I think would cause a lot of trouble with that. I don't think it'd be anything possible.
Add the very rare spawn of finding Walter White, and he'll sell you some blue meth.
Yeah, that's
A Walter
Absolute
White
pushing
zombie, and there's meth on his body.
Yeah, you get some meth on his body. You can't take it or anything, but it would just be like a souvenir.
Have him
Yeah.
driving around the
Ooh,
map with
piece of
his
candy.
trailer.
Ooh, piece of candy.
That's another question. Oh no, that's more a standalone question. My bad.
I got a question from my chat. Are you planning to add more slots to your inventory because now it's 12 slots? It's kind of small.
For now, no.
Guess that's your answer.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, and would it be possible to add like different like weapon attachments or whatever? Like go into a military spawn, there'd be like a rare chance of finding like a sniper scope or something that then you could put on like an M14 or something like that.
We can't fit attachments is good. we really want to do the attachment system, but unfortunately Arma 2 doesn't have an attachment system at all. Only the model